Good morning. Welcome to Mott Haven Houses and to the East Side Community Center. It's wonderful to see you all here. It's great to be here. I want to thank John Sanchez and his entire team for letting us take over their house this morning. Some of you saw the little kids coming in this morning, truly the next generation. So we're really pleased to be here with with our leaders to announce an incredibly important part of our work here together. I'm honored to be joined today by Housing and Urban Development Secretary Julian Castro, Mayor Bill de Blasio, my boss, and the New York City Council Speaker Melissa Mark Vivarito. I'd also like to acknowledge our resident board members who are here, Mr. Gonzalez, Ms. Bird, Ms. Lewis, as well as our CCOP District Chair, John Johnson, and Jackson Housing Resident Association President, Danny Barbara. We also work incredibly closely with our local regional HUD administrator, Ms. Holly Light, as well, who is right there and does a fantastic job here in the greater New York, New Jersey region. So we are here this morning to announce a program that will transform the lives of thousands of NYCHA residents across the city. As some of you have heard and covered, NYCHA recently announced our 10-year strategic plan, Next Generation NYCHA. And a key component of our plan is becoming more integrated with the city and the city's fabric. Next Gen is about putting NYCHA on solid financial footing and also connecting residents to the services to improve their lives. This includes digital broadband access, which is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity. President Obama understands that every American deserves access to 21st century technology to improve their lives. And with that, I'd like to introduce the HUD Secretary, Julian Castro, to tell us more about this exciting announcement.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, it's always wonderful to be here in the Bronx.
There's some Bronx response to that.
Yeah,
I thought for a moment you weren't in the Bronx. I was like, wait a minute.
I have to be honest, I expected a little bit more than that. Hey, all, it's always great to be with you, especially with good news. First of all, let me thank your chairwoman, Shola Olatoye, for the great job that she and the Housing Authority are doing, ensuring that so many folks have a decent place to live. Thank you, Shola. Thank you as well to your mayor, Bill de Blasio. I've gone around the country bragging about the focus that Mayor de Blasio has brought on creating affordable housing opportunities. And I want to thank you, Bill, for that.
Thank you.
And I've already called Speaker Mark Vivarito a superstar, so I'll do it again today for her leadership.
You're in her district. This is her
That's
district.
right. Thank you for your great leadership. I also want to recognize today some of the partners that we're proud are a part of our ConnectHome initiative that I'll address in just a couple of moments. We have folks here from the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, PBS, WNET, the American Library Association, GitHub, the College Board, and the Metro New York Library Council. If I could just ask them to stand up so we can recognize them. Thank you all very much. And finally, the staff at the Mott Haven Community Center, thank you all for hosting us, and our resident council as well. So yes, first let me say how proud we are of the work that New York is doing to connect residents of the Housing Authority, of public housing, to broadband. When we went out and we looked for communities to be a part of ConnectHome, we thought about communities that are making progress, showing that they're serious about this, and New York is a great example of that. So congratulations on the progress that y'all have already made. Yesterday, President Obama had the opportunity to launch ConnectHome. And ConnectHome is an initiative that we're convinced is going to enhance the lives of children and families across the nation. The idea behind ConnectHome is to accelerate broadband adoption in 28 communities public housing communities in 27 cities and 1 tribal community across the United States. And we're proud to say that New York is a part of that. New York is a part of that because New York has provided leadership. It's demonstrated an interest and taken serious steps toward connecting residents to the internet. I think it's safe to say that, Mayor, you and I agree that no child should ever be held back at the start of life. Our work together will allow students to get off to a running start. We know that these efforts are critical because today, less than half of the children out there who are low income have access to the internet. This in a world where you need access to the internet to get your homework done, you need access to the internet later in life to apply for a job. At many companies today, that's the preferred method, online job applications for 80% of the Fortune 500 companies. So the stakes are very clear that families living in the 21st century need 21st century tools to thrive. HUD is teaming up with 2 national nonprofits, Everyone On and US Ignite, to bring together public and private sector leaders to expand broadband adoption. And here in the Bronx, ConnectHome can impact up to 30,000 children in 15,000 families. Sprint is going to provide free high-speed wireless broadband service to families with children attending kindergarten through high school. And though we're not going to stop there, because we know that a family can't use the internet if they don't have a computer or the knowledge to make that access meaningful. And that's why organizations like the American Library Association, like PBS, see my good friend Juan Sepulveda here, and the Boys and Girls Clubs of America will work with their local affiliates to offer free digital literacy and tech training. In addition to that, groups like the College Board and Age of Learning will offer educational tools online for students of all ages, whether they're early learners or they're teenagers who are getting ready for the college application and admission process. I have to say that, I've been on the job at HUD almost a year now. I started on July 28th. And when I got the call from President Obama asking about my interest in this role, the first thing I thought about was our opportunity to impact the lives of children who are low income and who live in public housing. I'm convinced that we have a responsibility as a nation to make sure that all Americans are able to prosper, and that the only way we're going to be competitive in this 21st century global economy is to expand opportunity for them as well. Amen. At the same time, we know that, that ConnectHome is not a definitive solution. It really is a call to action. As a former mayor, I know that, that the federal government should never plan for local communities. It should plan with them. And that's why we're set on working with local leaders to tailor solutions in their own communities and looking to get this demonstration project right so that it can expand in the years to come. And I just want to tell you, before I conclude, one story to kind of make this real, of a man named Martin from Dover, New Jersey. After losing his job, Martin could no longer afford to pay for internet service at home. So he had to make daily trips to the local library just so that he could apply for jobs, and so his son could do some of the homework that he got that required him to go online. But that meant that their chances of getting ahead in life were limited by the library's operating hours. And when it closed for 4 days over the Thanksgiving holiday, Martin was forced to delay his search for work, and his son couldn't get some of his homework done that was due the following week. That all changed thanks to Everyone On, one of the partners in ConnectHome. They helped Martin's family regain access to affordable, high-speed internet. Martin said, quote, "It pained me to see how far my son could fall behind his peers. Computers are not a luxury for a sophomore in high school. They're a learning tool all students need to have. I'm not looking for handouts. I'm looking for a way to provide my son with what he needs. Parents across the nation are looking to do the same. And through everyone on its efforts, US Ignite, and all of the partners of ConnectHome, we know that we can help up to 200,000 children across the nation and 30,000 here in New York City to make their futures more successful. So, Mayor and Speaker Mark Viverito and to Chairwoman Olatoye, thank you all so much for making the real investments that make a substantive difference in the lives of our families and our young people. We know that there are children out there that because of this effort are going to be more likely to graduate from high school and go on to college and achieve their dreams and avoid intergenerational poverty in the years to come. And that's what America is all about. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Secretary Castro, for joining us to share the President's remarkable vision for ConnectHome and for selecting New York City and the New York City Housing Authority to participate in this exciting venture. Mayor de Blasio has been a long-time advocate of digital broadband access for every New Yorker. He and his counsel, Maya Wiley, understand it's so important to education, career building, income inequality, and financial security. Please welcome my boss, Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's do this right, people. It's so good to be in the Bronx today. Yeah. We're going to attribute it to the early hour, Secretary, and I'm going to hand out some café con leche or something, get people going next time. There you go. Thank you very much. Thank you, Shola, for your tremendous leadership and for helping to make the Housing Authority stronger every day. Mr. Secretary, I want to thank you and I want to thank the President for recognizing that in today's day and age, broadband access is foundational to participation in our society, foundational to economic opportunity and educational opportunity. It took us a while as a nation to catch up with that reality. We're still grappling with the inequalities we face. So many of us are trying to address income inequality in particular. But we can't do it if we don't guarantee broadband access. And this administration in Washington is not only recognizing that fact, but trying to fundamentally change the reality through efforts like this. Now, Mr. Secretary, I'm always appreciative of the fact that you understand people's lives. You understand it for so many reasons, but one of the great reasons is you were a mayor, and you understood what it was like to serve people at the front line. And by the way, when it comes to Secretary Castro's commitment to children, I just want to say, and I say this humbly, what he did on pre-K is one of the reasons for what we did here in New York City on pre-K, and let's thank him for that. So you showed us in San Antonio that we could reach our young people in new ways. And this fundamental effort that you and the President are leading to make sure that young people are not left out of educational and economic opportunities, this is a game changer. ConnectHome is a game changer in particular for over 200,000 children will be reached, and their lives will be fundamentally different. And we found this with our pre-K effort, we found this with our broadband access efforts. You literally can see how the trajectory of a child's life changes before your very eyes and what it means for an entire family. That's extraordinary. That's what we come here to do in public service, to know that because of a change that we made, a child who couldn't have gone as far is now going farther. A family that wouldn't have had opportunity now has it. And this is a way of doing it very, very profoundly. Well, we know also success has many fathers and mothers, and what the President is doing, the Secretary is doing, is to bring together everyone we need for this success. It's the federal government, it's local governments, it's nonprofits, it's the business sector. We all have to get this right. No one of us could possibly do this alone. We all have to get it right, but it won't work without federal leadership, and we're getting that today. We know that the federal demand of us is to go as far as we can go. Secretary Castro's told me that he knows he will do everything he can do, and he'll bring me every partner he can find. But we've got to step up and do all we can do. And that's why we are proud to acknowledge that leadership and follow that leadership by making actual investments here locally. The $10 million investment that we are making in free high-speed internet access in NYCHA developments across the city is part of that commitment, is part of building out a city where there's truly broadband access for all. That's going to be here at Mott Haven Houses, where 2,500 residents will be connected to the internet at no cost, for free. Mr. Secretary, did I mention it's free? You like that? I'm going to tell you there was one, I just have to do a little vignette, but you'll appreciate it deeply. We were starting the first year of our pre-K effort and trying to get the word across. And, you know, some people forgot to say the free part. And I kept saying, people, you got to say it's free. It's very important to people. I went to one pre-K center in Queens, in southeast Queens, and we walked up to the center, and they had like a glass front window of their building, and they said, full day pre-K. And the word free was in every part of the window. They had put the word free in every possible angle and all.
So they got your message.
Yeah, they got my message. So, internet access for free. Not only here at Mott Haven Houses, at Queensbridge Houses, the largest public housing development in North America, at Red Hook Houses. This is going to be a game changer. I know you like that. This effort's going to reach over 16,000 people, obviously with a particular interest on our young people, particular focus on our young people, and it's part of our overall goal, which again we're getting a lot of support and a lot of good push from the federal government on, that we will have affordable and reliable high-speed internet access for all New Yorkers by 2025, and that's part of our One New York City plan that we believe in deeply. I want to say the emphasis, the energy we're bringing to this, the federal leadership matters immensely. It is all about the fundamental goals of this administration, but it also helps to have leaders in this administration who every day are pushing this agenda relentlessly and creatively. I want to thank my counsel, Maya Wiley, for her great leadership. Let's give her a round of applause. Our commissioner for IT could not be here today, but Ann Rose has been a tremendous partner in making this happen. We've had great support not only on the federal level, not only from the Secretary, but I also want to thank Holly Light for her great support as our regional administrator. Thank you, Holly. And then we've had our broadband task force, which, you know, any good task force both informs and enlightens and then pushes and demands that we go farther. And the broadband task force has done that. They've helped us tremendously in developing our strategy, and we have with us one of the energetic members of that task force, well known here in the Bronx, Majora Carter. Thank you so much for your efforts. So look, just to say this quickly, I think everyone's hearing what we believe in and why we believe in it, but let's just look at some cold hard facts for a moment. In this city where we deal with inequality in so many forms, 1 in 5 households has no internet access. No internet access at all. Talk about a tale of two cities. If 80% of the people are fully connected to the global economy and every form of information, then 20% are not. That is an inequality we don't accept. And we know that that directly connects to economic reality because that proportion changes if you talk about our poorest families. Then the number gets much worse. 1 in 3, almost 33% of our poorest families do not have internet access. And that means that all the things that go with that access are not available. And then you'd say, well, why don't they invest in that? Isn't that a good choice? Yeah, it's a great choice, except that choice has to be made against rent, against food, against medicine, and people have to make those tough choices, and there's just not enough to go around. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, 46%, Mr. Secretary, I wish I didn't have to quote this. 46% of all New Yorkers at or near the poverty level, 46% of New Yorkers at 150% of the poverty level or lower. you can tell what that means for so many people. Those choices, those basic choices, mean that a lot of times, as much as I understand how much internet access would help them, it's just out of reach. Let me give you one quick example. The Secretary told you a powerful story. Let me tell you the story of Nifitia Hazard. Is Nifitia here with us today? Maybe not. Okay, but she lives here in Mott Haven Houses, and she is living an example of these choices that family has to make. She works 2 part-time jobs to support her family. Her son, Adonis, 7th grader at South Bronx Prep, very active. There you go. Okay. Very active in their Computer for Youth program. Now, her son's learning through the internet. He was given a laptop through the program, and the family signed up for Wi-Fi service. So far you're thinking this is a good news story. Working family, got a laptop, the son's learning, signed up for Wi-Fi. But here's where the plot thickens. Adonis developed a chronic illness back in February. And Nifitia had to make a choice. She paid $50 a month for the internet service, but now she had to pay additional medical expenses, and the two didn't go together. She couldn't afford both. So she quickly ascertained, exactly as the story the Secretary had talked about, that without the internet, her son started to miss on homework. And he started to have less opportunity, and he was frustrated in his own desire to learn. But Nifitia needed the money to provide for the medical help her son needed. That's the kind of catch-22 that families all over the city, all over this country are constantly confronting. And that's why we appreciate President Obama's leadership and Secretary Castro's leadership so much, because they're recognizing that that's happening every hour of every day all over this country. We want to thank you, Mr. Secretary, because this is the kind of thing that really will change that reality for families. One piece of their lives will finally be secure. They'll have internet access and all that goes with it. And we're going to go with every tool we have. We're going to keep going toward that goal, reaching toward that goal of a truly connected city. We have Link NYC, which will be the world's largest and fastest municipal Wi-Fi network. That's a proposal you heard about, or an initiative we started a few months ago. It's very exciting. It's going to bring internet access to so many people. Our libraries are piloting the first of its kind hotspot device lending, which we're very, very excited about. Thank you, Tony Marks, New York Public Library, for being here. We're pushing all the buttons, but it is so helpful to have federal leadership and a federal partner that's pushing us and supporting us and bringing us partners every step of the way. If you will indulge me, Mr. Secretary, a few sentences in Spanish. Or you could read them for me better than me. I might call in a pinch hitter. Thanks a lot, pal. Para lograr una sociedad más igualitaria, es crucial que todas las personas tengan acceso a Internet. Quiero reconocer al presidente Obama y al secretario de Vivienda, Julián Castro, por llevar Internet de alta velocidad a 200,000 niños en viviendas públicas. Estamos anunciando una inversión de 10 millones para llevar Internet a 3 complejos de NYCHA, Mott Haven Houses, Queensbridge Houses y Red Hook Norte y Sur, con un total de más de 16,000 residentes. Con el apoyo del gobierno federal, estamos avanzando hacia nuestra meta de llevar Internet confiable de alta velocidad a todos los neoyorquinos antes de finales del año 2025. With that, again, thank you, Mr. Secretary. All right.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Okay, next. I'm so pleased to now introduce our next speaker. Our speaker, we are in her district, Melissa Mark-Viverito, the Speaker of the New York City Council. My general manager and I, Mike Kelly, remark about her tireless passion and advocacy for the Housing Authority, and she's been such a great partner to us, Miss Melissa Mark-Viverito.
Viverito. Which is an Italian name.
Yeah, so you should be able to get that right.
Viverito.
Well, good morning to everybody. Buenos días.
So wait. Why are you so alive and awake for her, but not the rest of us?
It's always a pleasure to join the mayor and the chair and the secretary at events like this where we really have such great news to present. And a lot has been said. I really don't want to continue to add on to that. I do want to recognize, though, our public housing resident leaders, those that are on the board of NYCHA, those that serve in my district. I have John Johnson here, president of the TA here, Priscilla Jamerson from Millbrook Houses just down the street, and Lou Torres from Moore Houses. I always say proudly that I represent the most public housing, and proud to be here at Mott Haven to really make this announcement where, this administration and the commitment for full inclusion and access is very important. And when we talk about that digital divide, it's very real. When we talk about the lack of educational opportunities and that importance for pre-K, that's very real, right? There is an educational achievement gap. These are all things that we need to rectify, right, to eliminate as a way of creating an equitable playing field for our children and for the future of this city. Because the children in public housing, the children in our public schools, those children are the future of New York City. So we have to invest to ensure that they really achieve their full potential. And this will do that. And not only for the children, but for the families that now can also use that internet access to look for job and other educational opportunities for themselves. So this is very tangible, it's very real, it's very personal. And it's powerful. And I'm really glad that there is this commitment. I'm happy to be here representing not only this district, but on behalf of the City Council, to thank the Secretary, to thank this administration at the federal level and at the local level for their commitment to each and every child. So I'm glad to be here, and on behalf of my constituents, thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Oh, yes, sorry. Yes. He's always encouraging me to say a few words. I'll say mine in Spanish as well. I'll try to do the Italian lilt. Maybe that way we can be aligned.
Good, we'll take it.
No.
We'll take it.
Hoy nos acercamos a proveer mayor acceso al Internet para los neoyorquinos con esta iniciativa que anunciamos junto al secretario Castro y el alcalde de Blasio. A través de esta iniciativa, miles de familias en mi distrito y alrededor de la ciudad podrán tener acceso a un recurso vital para mejorar su calidad de vida, oportunidades de empleo y crecimiento educativo. Agradezco a la Administración Obama, a la Oficina del Alcalde y a todos los colegas de los sectores no gubernamentales y privados que han hecho posible esta iniciativa que ayudará a miles de familias que de otra manera no tendrían acceso al Internet. Cuando todos tenemos más oportunidades, nuestra sociedad es mejor. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much, Speaker Viverito, for your Mark Viverito, for your enthusiasm and support. We are incredibly indebted. Last but not least, I know time is tight, but I think it's important for us to acknowledge another real-life example of the importance of broadband access. Ms. Marcia Robinson, who has been a resident here at NYCHA's Robinson Houses for 19 years. Marcia used one of NYCHA's 2 digital vans, you might have seen them on your way in, to do her online coursework and homework. And I'm so pleased to say she graduated with an associate's degree with Monroe College and just started her classes for her BA in medical management. So give it up for Marcia. Thank you so much. And with that, we'll turn it over for Q&A for the mayor.
Thank you. All right, we're going to take on-topic questions. On-topic questions, yes.
I'm wondering, will the program impose any use or data load restrictions on the websites people will visit or the amount of data they can consume?
Damn good question. Maya? I think, hold it, I need legal help. Let me get my counsel.
There will be full privacy protections, and we are looking, since this is a demonstration project for these 5 developments, we're going to be using that demonstration to be figuring out with residents how best to structure the service.
So there'll be no restrictions on what websites a user can visit?
We're in the demonstration project. We'll determine, obviously, parents will want to make sure they have parental controls. That will exist because you'll always have parental controls as any user does through the devices that they're using. So, of course, parents will be able to limit what websites their children may access, but otherwise, the intent is for people to be able to use the internet just like anyone who can afford to pay to use the internet.
Grace.
Is the service going to be only for people who currently don't have internet, or will people who are paying be able to say, no, I'd rather have the money for something else and get it free?
Would you all get together and come up with a good question set? What is this? This is like, okay, very good question.
The service that people will get will be broadband speeds, high internet speeds. That's 25 megabits per second. Everyone in the units, every single resident will have the opportunity to use this service. If they want faster speeds, they have the option of paying for faster speeds. So it will be as any good through a regular private provider. So it doesn't displace any private provision. It introduces what the mayor committed to, which was competition. We want residents, though, to be able to have minimum broadband speeds. 25 megabits is pretty fast, but as you know, private providers can offer 50 megabits, 100 megabits. So that'll be something that residents will be able to choose from.
Go ahead.
Anyone can access it.
Anyone can access it, and I should add, because I think this is also important for the mayor's mission, that if you are on the streets, if you're in the public corridors around any of the developments and you're just walking down the street and you don't live there, you'll still be able to access the signal.
Yeah, so let me just say for our part as well on these questions, 2 things. First of all, that we're going to have a convening of all of the partners, public sector, private sector, nonprofit sector, in 3 weeks, essentially to go through the details in each of the communities. But the second thing is, as I mentioned in my remarks, that we're really looking for these to be locally tailored plans. So as you can see, New York has already put a lot of thought into the rollout of their own plan, and we look forward to working with them, to synchronize.
You mentioned the statistic of the number of households in the city.
Louder, please.
You mentioned the statistic of the number of households in the city that don't have internet access. Is there statistics specific to NYCHA residents who don't have internet access?
Or, who's got that?
About half of our residents we know do have access in terms of actual access in their apartments. We've been surprised in our own data that most residents do have access via a personal device. I think what this effort does is actually bring it to be a household-based opportunity, and so, but again, we know that half of our residents do have access, and this effort seeks to address, make sure that the other half has access.
Sorry, I just want to make sure. Media? We're doing media questions. Yes? No?
The Verizon Center provides a service in New York City. Who provides the funding for Verizon, or are they cutting their prices? Is the government going to pay them? So,
Okay, you start. I think you outrank us. Go first.
I want to say ours is, I want to make sure, Sprint. Yeah, I want to clarify for ConnectHome here in New York City that it's Sprint. So I don't know if it's a different case for y'all.
Yeah, so, and Sprint actually has been an important partner to our library systems in the wireless hotspot lending program, so we're looking forward to working with Sprint and finding ways to expand that access.
federal government provides funding for it, or how are they paid?
So the corporate sponsors are creating a contribution, so it will be an in-kind contribution. The city is making a substantial investment in the actual broadband infrastructure, bringing the free wireless service to NYCHA residents.
And let me just add overall, for the 28 communities overall.
They hate when people don't do that. You've got to get to the microphone so they can
There you
all
go.
hear it perfectly.
Overall, for the 28 communities, the partners are making a $70 million commitment. We'd be glad to follow up with you in terms of evaluation for that for New York City.
On topic. Yes.
Can you just clarify, are we talking about entirely wireless access, or how is it going to work? Is it going to be wireless network?
You mean wireless versus wired full?
Yes.
Okay, there's the question. Go ahead. Or Shola, whoever's got it.
So it's wireless access. All wireless service has wire. So it's a little, but it's each individual home, we will be running cable. Each individual unit will have wireless access in the unit as well as in the public spaces of the developments.
Now I'm a little confused. Yeah, hold on. Let's do this, because when you say running cable, do it one more time just to clarify.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there are the issues, and this is one of the reasons we're very excited about the contribution of the federal government. People will still need devices by which they pick up the signal, right? So we'll be providing the signal. Folks have smartphones, folks have computers. They will then just be able to log on to the system because it will be wireless and freely available. Computers for Youth is a great example. It's already partnering with Department of Education on providing devices, and we'll be looking forward to opportunities to get more devices to families.
Is getting devices to family included in this, or is that something that's going to be kind of hashed out once this is implemented?
You first, and then we'll follow on.
Yeah, there are partners that are part of ConnectHome that are contributing resources for devices. And at the convening that we have in 3 weeks, we'll discuss that part further.
Okay? Yes.
Will everyone be able to access all of this?
Excellent. All the news you can use.
So Queensbridge will be the first that will actually have it. When the contracts are in place, which we hope will be by the end of the year, they'll start to come online. It'll be in total about a 15-month process for Queensbridge.
When will the first people get it?
Well, I can't answer that until we go through the contract process, but it will be a rolling process. So we hope by 2016, Queensbridge houses, definitely residents will start being able to access service.
Thank you very much. Anyone would like to interview a corporate sponsor, let me know.
Okay, thanks everyone.